everybody, and welcome to the ACE Football Academy. This is our March 24th edition of our World Soccer Roundup. Again, this is edition, I think, number 4. We've had a lot of fun doing this the past several weeks. This week's a little different because the EPL, the English Premier League, our favorite league probably, are off. It's an international week. So we're going to dive into some international competition this week a little bit, and then we'll circle back around and touch on some leagues here closer to home. But what do we got going internationally this week?
Yeah, the cool thing is we get to watch a lot of qualifiers for the World Cup. Got the UEFA European Championship qualifying going on. Game's been going on for most of the week here, a couple games today. So plan on a few over the weekend. I believe that's going on Fox Sports. So check that out when you can. It's kind of periodic, so take a look up those and see what you can find out. We also have the Americans are playing. CONCACAF Nations League, our own new version of World Cup qualifying is happening. And we have Grenada, Friday, 8 p.m. You can catch that on TNT. We got any odds on this one here?
We do. So the U.S. is a big, heavy favorite here. They are 3-goal favorites. So if you want to take the U.S., you're going to have to give 3 goals with an over/under of only 4. So, I feel like this bet is setting up. If you're a betting person, this bet is setting up. If you're going to take the over/under, then you're probably taking Grenada to cover the 3 goals because, I don't know. You're expecting them to score. The U.S. is going to need help. I think so. I think it's some weird lines. Luckily, we don't pick against the spread. Right. So I think this is I hope it's a pretty easy one. I think the last time these two played, the U.S. won 5-0. So I am going to pick the U.S.
Yeah, it is interesting because the Berhalter situation is going on. They have an interim coach at the moment. Are they still using young players? I don't know what the starting lineup is going to be or who's even on the roster at the moment for these Nations League games. I'm also going to take the U.S. Grenada should not be an issue, especially with the roster they've been putting together here lately. So I'm going to take the under. I don't see a high-scoring game because of those issues that they're going into it with. But I would see at least a 2-0 game here for the U.S.
Yeah, it almost kind of has that feeling of like a sluggish, kind of just nasty, sloppy, where it's never really in doubt and you're never really nervous.
Yeah.
But you kind of get to the end of the game and you're like, oh, glad that's over. The big one for the U.S. is Monday night. They currently sit in second in their divisions. I think there's 4 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So they currently sit in second in their division behind El Salvador, and they have El Salvador on Monday night.
Yeah. It's odd when we go up against the Central American teams in the past. For whatever reason, we have struggled. But Berhalter has changed that around. Like we said, he's not there. So it's going to be interesting on what the strategy is going to be. Again, you expect the U.S. men's national team to pull through, but who's going to be on the roster? I expect a tight game here. I'm going to go with a draw just because of the uncertainty.
And I believe these two teams drew the last time they played as well.
That would make sense.
So I think that's the safe bet. There aren't any odds out for it yet. I'm sure they're waiting for the completions of these games Friday night and Saturday night. So just, again, check with your favorite sports book a little closer to game time for that.
Yeah, you'll catch them on Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Again, that's also on TNT. U.S. men's national team versus El Salvador. Moving on to Major League Soccer, we have some pretty interesting games going on. Now we're getting to see the difference in the levels. We're starting to break away. Philadelphia is struggling early on.
Yeah.
Our first game we're going to talk about here is Nashville versus FC Cincinnati. Nashville, number 4, Eastern Conference. FCC, number 3, Eastern Conference.
FCC.
Unbeaten FCC. They have really been hanging on.
Boy,
the issue, they're not scoring goals.
It is.
They're grinding out wins, which is nice to see because we gave up bad losses because of giving up goals late, but they're grinding out wins, but we got to start scoring goals.
Well, and it was last Saturday night, it was the exact opposite. They, how many times last season did it feel like we were up 3-1 late and then you check back in, and we tied 3-3.
Right.
It was the exact opposite. We were down 3-1 in like the 80th minute, somewhere around in there.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told you, I don't normally do this, but I was so frustrated with the way the game was going. I was down in Bowling Green with my team at a tournament, and I turned it off. I walked away from it and went and hung out with some people, and then when I got the update that we tied 3-3, I thought, well, maybe it was me. So.
Well, what's our odds on this game here?
Yeah,
I think this is going to be a bit of a nail biter. Nashville's playing very well. FCC's grinding out wins.
They are, and because of that, I think this is why you have a Nashville favorite. Nashville is a half-goal favorite with an over/under of 2.5. So they are giving you that opportunity to win that over/under bet. We often see those over/under bets at 2 or 3, so you have to have that extra goal.
Yeah.
They're giving you that opportunity to win there. What do you like in tonight?
This is a tough decision because Nashville's playing really well. SCC's not scoring goals. Brandon Vasquez still hasn't scored a goal this season.
Right.
It's concerning, but you're waiting for that gate to open up for him.
Yeah.
And eventually it's going to happen. I'm actually going to go with a draw here. I'm saying 1-1, 2-2. It's tough to pull out who I think is going to win, but I'm going to stick with the draw on this one here.
Before I make my pick, I have a question. Do we know where this game is? Did you check on that at all?
I believe it's at Nashville. Yeah, right. That makes it even more difficult to choose.
I'm going to take FC Cincinnati.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think it's a matter of time before they get it going. They get it clicking. We have talked in previous episodes about the new formation look, kind of the new players look, getting that chemistry going. They scored 2 goals really late last week.
Oh, unbelievable.
And I hope that carries over, and I'm going to believe that it carries over, so I'm going to take FC Cincinnati.
And really, the cool thing is for FC Cincinnati is Sergio Santos, who's been coming off the bench.
Right.
Is he going to take over Brenner? I mean, Brenner has scored a couple of goals already, but is Santos going to take over Brenner since we're not sure of Brenner's future with FC Cincinnati? So that's going to be interesting how that unfolds throughout the season. Next game up, we have LAFC, of course, number 2 in the Western Conference versus FC Dallas, number 4 in the Western Conference.
Another top 5 matchup early
Another top 5, another nail biter here. What we got going on in this one?
LAFC is a 1-goal favorite with an over/under of 2.5. So again, they're giving you that opportunity to make your over/under bet. If you like a 1-0 or 1-1 game here, you take the under and you roll with it. Again, if you see more goals happening, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, something like that, they're giving you that opportunity to take that over. Yeah. I like it when Vegas does that. Pushes are the worst in betting. So I like it when they give you the opportunity there. I have rolled with LAFC, I think, all year long.
Okay.
Last week was the first week they drew last week.
To Seattle.
And so I had bet on them last week. It cost me a game. But I'm going to continue to roll with them. I'm going to take LAFC to win this game. I'm also going to take the over. So maybe do a little parlay here, get the chips rolling a little bit here, take LAFC to cover the 1-goal advantage and take the over at 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take LAFC until they give me a reason not to believe in them. They're defending champs for a reason. They still have pretty much everybody besides Gareth Bale. I'm going with LAFC. I'm not going to take the over. I still think FC Dallas has a quality team, but LAFC clearly should be a step above.
Agreed.
Well, next up we have new
season starting
kicking off their 11th season, the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League. Catch them on Paramount Plus, CBS Sports. Again, 11th season.
Yeah.
They're really starting to build some momentum. We got 12 teams, and they're talking expansion now. And I believe they've already noted 1 expansion team for next season.
Okay.
And I'm hearing possibly another 3 down the road.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see how that builds up.
What's fun about this league, and I think you told me, and we've done a little research, guys. So, but what did you tell me? Only like one or two of the U.S. women's national team players are not playing in this league.
The
So,
only player from the entire U.S. women's national team that's on their roster online is Lindsey Horan. Is the only person not in the NWSL, and that's only because she's on loan.
yes,
I think she plays for the North Carolina Courage or Kansas City Current. It's one of the two, but
okay.
she's on loan overseas. So really, she does play in that league.
Yeah.
She's just on loan at the moment. So really, you can say the entire roster is
in that league.
scheduled to play in the
Yeah.
NWSL, except for Lindsey Horan for this season.
And that's a lot of fun. That makes it really cool. That gives all of us a chance to watch these players a little closer. A little more than just that every 2 years or every 4 years, whether it be the World Cup or the Olympics. So makes it a lot of fun. Makes it for an interesting setup.
It's nice familiarizing yourself with some names on some of these teams
definitely.
to follow through. Another cool thing, they have implemented VAR this season.
Call it a cool thing.
Well, new cool technology that should benefit how the game flows, but we know from EPL it's not been the greatest. But VAR is currently with NWSL. So if you did not pay attention to last season, the Portland Thorns are the current defending champs, and the Kansas City Current were the runner-up. So that flows us into our games we're going to follow this season. Is the first one Portland Thorns versus Orlando Pride, and then after that it's going to be the Kansas City Current versus the North Carolina Courage. What kind of teams do we have on these two? What kind of players do we have on these two teams?
Yeah, so again, we're talking about the U.S. women's team. Becky Sauerbrunn is on the Portland Thorns. And
by the way, of all the players that I've watched over the last, I'd say, 10 years, Becky Sauerbrunn has been my favorite player. You can talk about Alex Morgan.
Okay.
You can talk about, Press and whoever else is out there. Lindsey Horan. I love how Becky Sauerbrunn plays.
Okay.
She is an upper level A++ class player, and she's on her A game. I believe she's been an MVP in the past World Cup, but because she's a defender, she's not getting notoriety.
Right. Yeah.
I love her the way she plays. She is solid every single game for them.
So yeah, I was actually pulling up that roster, and that's what I'm looking at now. And Marta is by far the best player on that team.
Yeah, Portland's got some studs.
They do. They really do.
They've got quite a few. It's not just Becky Sauerbrunn. There's a few other national team players there.
So it'll be fun to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in it. Swinging over to the Kansas City Current and North Carolina Courage. North Carolina Courage has a player that I've followed a little more closely, Emily Fox. She is on the U.S. women's national team. She's a young player.
Yep.
One of the reasons why I followed her so closely is that she played for Racing Louisville in the NWSL. Actually, the past 2 seasons, I believe. Got noticed there, got called up by the U.S. women's national team from Racing Louisville. So it was really cool to kind of see all that unfold. She has recently been traded for 2 players. I forget their names, and I apologize. But she is with the North Carolina Courage now. And then on the other side, with Kansas City, another international player, Dabinia.
There you go.
Dabinia, who is also a Brazilian.
So, Portland Thorns, defending champs, Orlando Pride. What's your pick on that game there?
Oh, I'm going to cycle back. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go with the champ. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but I'm going to take the Portland Thorns.
Let's be honest here. Marta, as much of a legend she is, she's past her prime.
She is.
The Portland Thorns, they are loaded.
Yeah.
They have a quality roster that you want to have. So I'm going with Portland here. In fact, I'm taking a bit of a
lopsided.
Yeah, it's very lopsided. I'm going to say 3-0.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Our final game we're going to follow here, everybody knows that we're close to Racing Louisville FC.
We are.
So they are playing Houston Dash. And they have a few players as well that could be followed. What do you got on them?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of interesting. Both the Houston Dash and Racing Louisville in the last year and a half or so, both have kind of lost their face of the franchise player. We've already mentioned Emily Fox being moving over to North Carolina Courage. Rachel Daly, a striker for the Houston Dash, has transferred to the international side of things. So both of those players gone. So it'll be interesting to see how both of those teams adapt. Jess McDonald is still with the um, Racing Louisville. She's a former U.S. Women's National Team player. She was a part of the 2019 squad. So again, something
World
to
Cup
watch
squad.
World, yeah, sorry.
Yep.
She was part of the 2019 World Cup squad for the U.S. Women's National Team. So again, those names are going to jump out all season in this league, and I think that's what makes it really fun.
Yeah, again, catch them on Paramount Plus or CBS Sports opening weekend. Make sure you catch them out.
Sounds like it's going to be a rainy weekend, kind of where we are. So
Unfortunately, yes. So if you're inside and want to stay dry, catch these games. I think we'll have another interesting games this weekend. We'll see who takes the top between our little betting odds here.
we will. And currently, we struggled a little bit last week. We both went
We did.
1-2. First time all season that we had a losing record, and we both did last weekend. But I moved us both to 8-7 overall. So we will see how things go this week and see if I can't move back in front.
Tell us your picks on our Facebook or YouTube page, and we'll catch you next week on the World Soccer Roundup. This is the A.C.E Football Academy. See you next time.